Welcome to Yoruba History TV. We'll be discussing today about the first period, the mythological kings and the five heroes, the founders of the Yoruba nation, starting from Oduduwa. Oduduwa, the reputed founder and ancestor of the race, is really a mythical personage. The etymology of the term is from Odu, tí dá ìwà, Oduduwa. Whatever is unusually large as a large pot or container is termed Odu. The term then implies the great container, the author of existence. According to Ife mythology, Oduduwa was the son of Olodumare, the father or lord of Odu. Mari implies cannot go beyond, that is, the Almighty. Oduduwa was sent by Olodumare from heaven to create the earth. Olokun, that is the goddess of the ocean, was the wife of Oduduwa. Oromiyan and Isedale, their children, and Ogun, a grandchild. Such is the desire of most nations to find a mythical origin for themselves through their kings and ancestors. All that was known of him has been told in our previous lessons, which gives an account of the emigration of the ancestors of the Yoruba from the east to Ile-Ife, where Oduduwa died in peace and was deified. Being worshipped to this day by the Ifes and up to the time of the British Protectorate, human sacrifices were offered to him at regular intervals. The soil of Ile-Ife is said to be sacred to him. He was the grandfather and the great-grandfather of renowned kings and princes who ruled and made history in the Yoruba country. The number of years embraced by this period is unknown, but it includes the time during which the Yoruba kingdom was in prosperity and a king's despotic. The capital of the kingdom then was Ile-Ife. The Basharun of this reign was Olorunfunmi. Now to Oranyan. Oranyan, the grandson of Oduduwa, succeeded his grandfather on the throne. He was a very brave and warlike prince, and of an indomitable courage. He was the founder of the Order of the Esos. His body consisted of 150 well-tried soldiers. How he aided his brothers on an abortive expedition to the east to avenge the death of their great-grandfather, and how they quarreled at Igangan and dispersed from that place, has been told in our previous lessons. After founding the city of Oyo, where he resided for a time, he was said to have pushed on to a place called Oko, leaving Oyo in charge of one of the princes. This is not unlikely when we remember that was not an age of settled governments, but that the warlike and restless king was engaged in extending his dominions far and wide. Much that was known of him has been told in our previous lessons. He resided at Oku for many years, and according to some, died there, but others affirm that he died at Ile-Ife, where his grave is shown to this day. But the Yorubas have a custom, whenever anyone died away from home, to cut the hair of his head and pair of his knees, and these are taken to the place where they would have him buried, and there ceremoniously and religiously deposited. It may thus have been the case here, but an anecdote connected that later years must here be told. It was said that after a long period of reign, an urgent necessity made him revisit the city of Ile-Ife, which he had left for so long a time, perhaps to arrange some family affairs, or to possess himself of some of his father's treasures left in charge of Adimu. He left his son Ajaka as regent and went. Having stayed much longer than the time fixed for his return, communications between the two places being then dangerous and difficult, the people thought he was dead, or that at any rate he would no more return to Oku. The Oyomesi, who were the authorized rulers of the town, consequently confirmed Ajaka on the throne, investing him with full powers and all the insignia of royalty. But his father was returning, and having come within a short distance of the city, his attention was arrested by the sound of the kakaki trumpet, a trumpet blown for the sovereign alone. Upon inquiry, he learnt what had taken place. He thereupon retraced his steps quietly to Ile-Ife, where he spent the rest of his days in peaceful retirement. An obelisk termed Opa Oronyo, the Oronyo staff, erected on the spot he was supposed to have been buried, is shown at Ile-Ife to this day. This would seem to confirm the view that he died and was buried at Ile-Ife and not at Oko. This obelisk is about 10 or 12 feet in height and about 4 feet square in width at its base. It tapers to a point and has upon one face of it several spike nails driven onto it, and some carvings as of ancient characters. The nails are arranged in such an ordered manner as to render them significant. First, there are 61 in a straight line from the bottom upward at intervals of about 2 inches in midline, and next at about a distance of 4 inches on either side of this, and from the same level on top, 2 parallel lines of 31 nails, each running downwards and curving below to meet those of the midline. Then, in the space between these 3 rows of parallel lines and above the level where they converge, is found the most conspicuous of the carvings. Beside Opa Oronyo, they are to be found to this day in groups at Ile-Ife and at other Ife settlements outside the city. Carvings in stores of natural objects such as tongs and anvil, table, stool, fish, and several other objects. They represent the handicraft of the founders of the race, and they are held sacred. The art of carving on stones or drilling holes in them has since become lost among Yorubas, and consequently how nails could have been driven into stones, and various figures cut out of them is usually explained to be that these objects were once carved out of wood, and when the carvers were deified, their work became petrified. As these gods were once men, so these stones were once wood. The Ifes are the guardians and the custodians of these sacred relics from ancient times. Nearly all legends and folklore are attributed to the age of Oronyo. Among these may be mentioned the following told by an Ife. About 4 feet was broken off from the top of obelisk during a storm in the year 1884. The obelisk has since twice fallen down and inartistically re-erected, but a stump of it now remains.